America's first competition talk show.
The hub is engaging.
Talk life.
Good news for coffee drinkers worldwide. Indonesian Muslims have now finally determined that you can drink fecal feline coffee. And that's a very good thing. In Indonesia, in Jakarta, Indonesia recently, they have learned that they have decided that one of the greatest types of coffee in the world that comes from the dung of civet cats. And apparently, once they get crap happy, and you know that it mixes with the bean, if you wash the bean off, you get some of the world's greatest coffee. Now, I must insert at this point that while this coffee may be great, the coffee you see scrolling on the bottom of your screen frequently on the Hub Internet Show is far superior. It is called Organo Gold from coffeecapitalist.com. You go there right now, you buy coffee, you will never be kicking a cat out a window again or throwing it in front of a car because you won't need to. You'll be drinking better coffee anyway. That other talk show host wants you to buy black gold. I say buy black coffee. Coffeecapitalist.com. There, I've done my plug. And you'll thank me for it when you go to coffeecapitalist.com. Now, we got to get into this because there's a new study out was building upon Ron Unz's study from 2000, where he found that the most underrepresented group of folks in academia, specifically in Ivy League schools like Harvard, happen to be white Christians and ethnic Catholics, of all things. Also underrepresented were Afrocentric, midget transvestite children. But that being set aside, white Christians were also underrepresented. So we have to deal with this. And the study found that white Christians made up 2/3 of the population overall in this country, but 1/4 of the students at Ivy League schools. Now, I don't know if this comes as a surprise to anybody else, but you guys tell me. I mean, honestly, do you think it's worse among Ivy Leagues? Do you think they're targeting to bring in more ethnic minorities on Ivy Leagues? Do you see this happening? Do you think it translates into academia overall, Barry?
I think that's absolutely true, and it's not just academia; it's all over the place. It's basically if you are a female or minority, you're going to get special attention. You are going to get more likely to get the best jobs. You're more likely to get the sort of scholarship, whatever you need to go to college. So it's not just the colleges, and certainly the higher level ones, the higher ranked ones are going to be a lot more focused on those type of people. So you're at a severe disadvantage if you're not in those categories of either minority, female, so on. Corporations. I mean, there are corporations that will basically say, if you want to promote somebody who's not in that category, you have to have a special reason. And I like what Justice Roberts said, Chief Justice Roberts, where he said, if you want to end racial discrimination, you need to stop discriminating on the basis of race.
Yeah. Is that a silver spoon in your mouth? Were you born with that?
No.
Anyway, he is obviously a white aristocratic sexist pig. What say you to this allegation?
Well, actually, I agree with him.
Oh, nobody! Somebody wasn't burning bras.
Definitely not.
Okay.
I'm a realist and done some study on it and saw what they wrote in about the presumably white privilege that doesn't really exist.
So we do need more men in school because
I do.
Honestly, I mean, it makes sense because women get out of school, they don't have much left to marry. If they're looking for a on parity
there has
education.
to be a happy balance in there.
Balance, JB. You need balance. Got to have balance.
Unbalanced right now.
Okay.
No heartburn, no burping, balance.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that I think there would be broad agreement that as a general proposition, Ivy League schools are generally criticized for the way in which they conduct their business by many who would define themselves as being conservative, right? And yet there is this great urgency to make sure that enough conservatives get into these places that make you so liberally biased. So it seems like there are plenty of academic choices, plenty of applicants, and so it's a scarcity thing.
Well, but that's because we're just simply responding to our white Anglo-Saxon Judeo-Christian ethic, which says, "Go ye into all the world and preach the good news." The good news, obviously, being conservatism.
I say leave
that's
them
why
alone.
we go. It's for
Leave 'em
evangelical
alone.
purposes.
Don't, if you're not welcome, why apply?
You're saying, you're taking the other line. It's just kick the dirt off your feet, walk out of that town.
Plenty of places to get a good
Let
education.
it burn in hell. They've cast their own line.
If the idea is I'm going to be a minority, and I'm not
which you
going
don't
to
have
be
much of a
welcome
choice
there.
in if you are.
Well, but if you're presumably saying the way I think is not welcome here, the way I approach the world is not welcome at this place, then is it go someplace where you are welcome?
Okay. Well, that's the thing. I think that's the point, is that once you get this kind of an education, you have a distinct advantage over other groups.
Right.
Therefore, there are far fewer places where you are welcome.
Right, there's
Exactly.
There's
Well,
only so many Ivy League schools.
Well, yeah, there's
But
only
if
so
the
many Ivy League
so
schools.
if the
but the-
quality of the I'm sorry, go ahead.
But the other thing is, going to those schools has a huge advantage in the marketplace, in the workforce. If you have a Harvard MBA, that's going to carry you a long way all the time, your whole life. And so to say, okay, we're going to limit who can go there, and by race or sex or whatever, that has an impact way beyond just you get to go to college. It has an impact on society. And so we shouldn't be discriminating in colleges, because that's going to result in further discrimination in broader society.
Well, I mean, the most recent study, I have to throw this to Jim, Princeton sociologist Thomas Espenshade and Alexandria Radford Espenshade, no relation, draw from national studies of college experience. They gathered from 8 competing schools, all Ivy League schools, and they found that being Hispanic gave you the equivalent of a 130-point SAT boost over white Christians.
Similarly situated.
Black, 310-point boost on average. And Asians actually suffered a 140% penalty. Of course, they can play with a handicap because they get better massage treatments. But the bottom line is, this study obviously shows that how intellectually inferior whites are after all. The Aryans were just fooling themselves, right?
Well, I think my frustration's always been that we have what always strikes me with affirmative action is the idea that in order for something to be diverse, it must be visibly diverse. That black people all think X way, therefore a black person will therefore be different than a white and a Hispanic person. You know, this idea that you're only seeing race when you try to populate something with diversity, not of mind but of appearance. Would you be more diverse if you had poor people from an inner city and poor people from Appalachia? Probably so. But they're just because that's a different background, it doesn't matter what your skin color is. You know, William F. Buckley has a great quote, or had a great quote, where he said, "I'd rather be governed by the first 2,000 names of the Boston phone book than the first 2,000 people of the Harvard faculty." The idea that he has a trust in the common man, yeah. that just because you have Harvard on your jacket doesn't necessarily give you the intellect of someone that doesn't. I mean, we have Emory in Atlanta. You know, Emory is a fantastic school. Why it's never thought of as on the Ivy League thing, I don't know.
Yeah, but way too much trust in the phone book. Barry, what say you? Do black people experience a disadvantage, an advantage?
Well, I think. I don't think
long extended knowledge of being a black people.
My vast knowledge, exactly. Well, I mean, first of all, you've had reverse discrimination suits since 1978 was the first major one. So it's been 30 years since you've had those. The other thing is, what happens to the people that just came over 5 years ago? They're a feline fecal matter coffee maker in Indonesia, and they came from Indonesia 5 years ago. Those people are being given special treatment, special privileges, and they haven't suffered anything in the past. But,
which, by the way, the preachers are now saying may be at odds with the Hillel law, Hillel law, Muslim law. It's against Muslim law.
Sharia.
So Sharia. That's a catch-all.
Clearly, we should all be under Sharia law.
I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, they said that the worst thing you can possibly be is white, lower class with high test scores. who is involved with Future Farmers of America, 4-H clubs, or junior ROTC. You have that on your record, you got a big red X on your forehead, you might as well jump off a bridge. You'll get further in life.
She's a real girl, lover tonight.